Hi, Dan here. I'm just going to show you the basics of slap technique today. I got a question based on a video I did recently, which was more of an advanced thing, and someone wanted some tips on how to get into improvising bass lines and the basics of the technique. So let's get straight into the basics. This is how I do it. Lots of different people will play in different ways, but this bony part of the thumb here, I'm striking the fretboard right where it ends here. And that's the thumb. It's sometimes notated with an S, called a slap or a thumb. And the first thing to do is just to get used to getting an open string sound, because one of the common mistakes to make is when you come and slap, you don't come off the string fast enough so the string doesn't vibrate. So that's what you want to do. You want to bounce off. You can stop the note with your fretting hand. Do you hear that harmonic? That's because I didn't use more than one finger. So I would recommend that you just use your hand like quite flat and gently touch. There is a method that we will use, and we'll talk about this hand a bit more, where you could deliberately get a sound with that hand, but I'm jumping ahead. So first of all, that's quite hard to do, to be able to just slap down on the string without hitting another string. So just take your time. Real bouncy motion away from the bass. Another way you can do it is if you're coming down, you can strike the string and almost come to rest underneath. You get a real fat, meaty tone doing that. I'm not going to get into double thumbing now, but it's where you do what I just showed you and then go up. But we won't do that in this lesson. I really would just spend a lot of time just doing open strings. Or you can just use some random notes in scales or what have you, it doesn't really matter. But just get that technique down first, it might take you a while. Then we've got the pop. It's where you get a finger under a string, usually the index finger. And then you just pull the string away from the fretboard. Don't worry, it's not going to break. It's not going to break the string. But you don't have to pull it very far away to get the sound you want. So just hold the strings like this so you get a dead noise, and just practice going E string and then G string. As my thumb comes down to get the E, the index is already under. It's almost like a down-up motion, down into the body of the bass and up away like this. And you can get drum beats. Think of this as a bass drum, and this is a snare drum. You can use the middle finger after the index. It's a little bit more advanced. See, my little finger, by the way, is just holding here just to be a bit more anchored. I'm also resting at the top here with my wrist. But the hand is just falling quite naturally where the strings are here. My thumb is going parallel to the string when I'm slapping, but you will see a lot of people coming up in this direction, so even some people doing this kind of. As long as you have no joint pain anywhere and you can execute the technique perfectly well, it doesn't really matter if there's much variation. So you don't have to do it the way I'm doing it if you're feeling a way that feels more natural to you. Okay, now we've got various fretting hand techniques. Yes, this hand is very involved in the rhythm in slap, but this hand's very, very involved as well. Also, muting is going to need to be taken care of with this hand because this one's doing too much. So let's see a few techniques, essential slap-based techniques that you may or may not already know in fingerstyle playing, and you can use this with a plectrum as well. It's universal. We've got a hammer on. I'm going fret 5 to 7 on the A string. So I'm just, whether you do a thumb or a pop, it doesn't matter. I'm fretting fret 5, and then I'm hammering down with, in this case, the third finger, keeping it nice and curled, not collapsing. And you want the hammer to be as loud as that. Or at least there or thereabouts. The opposite is a pull-off. It's where I'm already fretting fret 5 and I'm popping and flicking the string down towards the floor. There's the hammer on, followed by an E string. That's a pull off. Something like that is where you're almost drumming like you would on your legs with both hands. That kind of fast rhythm, you're going to get that with interplay between the two hands. I'm going to show you that. So I'm doing the hammer on fret 5 to 7 on the A string. And as I'm coming up here, I'm just now coming down with a ghost note. Okay, so it's deadening the strings here and just coming down. And then on my way up, so this is down up thing, I'm keeping into this groove that way. I'm just popping the E on the 7th fret, so not much going on there. And then an E. You can do different rhythms. It's just almost like you're doing one motion and you're getting all those notes. Right. What else have we got? That was what I was telling you before. Try this. Play an E with a thumb and then bring the 2nd and 3rd fingers down. We're not playing a note, it's just slapping the string. You can get some cool rhythms doing that. There's a lot in this video, so do rewind if you need to, but that's kind of... There might be a few more techniques as we go, but I'm going to keep this fairly brief, and that's the technique side of things down. The next thing I want to talk about is timing, and also what notes to play if you want to start improvising bass lines using this technique. There are so many things you can do, but I'm really going to keep it very simple and just do 2 things. So there's a mode called the Dorian mode, and it sounds really great for funk and slap kind of playing. That mode also gives you a minor pentatonic scale. So those are the 2 scales that I'm going to show you right now. I've got a PDF of all this as well, so you don't have to memorize everything now. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the frets, but the shapes here are going to be used. So we've got, you might even already know minor pentatonic. That's the E minor pentatonic scale, kind of going open string and in this direction, okay? It's a very simple sound. It's a very used sound, but I want to push things forward a little bit by just using that Dorian mode. These are the notes. That's how I'm choosing to play it. You can play open strings. I find fretted notes much easier to control. So, literally just going up the scale and then back down using thumb. Really controlling the length of the notes. Short, long. This time when I'm coming down here, I don't want a noise, just really gentle stopping of the open string. So very important to use this hand to mute. Now the note length is being controlled by just lifting up the finger. Not leaving the string, just touching the string but releasing pressure off the fretted note. Let's do the same thing but add in a pop using octaves. One thing I didn't show you was a slide. Slides, bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs, vibrato, that's all articulation. Absolutely essential in bringing your playing to life and adding flair, adding interest, adding personality into your playing. I can just literally go up the string playing that E Dorian mode. Octaves with just some sliding into notes. Maybe I'll do it less like a scale. this way I'm sliding a bit further, then going back down. What about this? Just playing with the notes that are in the scale up to there and just pretty randomly going through them. In my head I've got this going, tapping my foot, subdividing the beat, so 16th notes, or even 8th. Now add some pentatonic in. Frets 5 and 7 of the E, A and the D string. They lend themselves really well to hammer-ons and pull-offs. I just love the fact that those notes are all on the same frets on those strings. It's really easy. So target those notes in and around, you know, this. Now, if I'm going too fast, slow it down. Do fewer notes. I'll also put that drum beat on the link so that you can practice along to this, but notice I'm not playing to a drum beat. And at first, just explore without that. Then you can start to introduce a metronome to get the timing element of this. It doesn't really matter what you play, because as long as it's in time and it's grooving, then it sounds good. If you try to go for lots of notes and it's just all a bit loose and nearly there, that's not quite as good as simple but spot on with the groove. There's that thing again, interplay between hands. I got a thumb, a pat, well, let's call that, and another ghost note thumb, and then I'm just doing a pop. And just playing the 7th fret after that of the D string. Think about it like drumming. Each digit has got a job to do to make a rhythm, tick, tick, and it's got to be precise. It's got to be really in time. That's why you're subdividing the beat. In that case, into 16ths. This is supposed to be sort of an introductory, beginnery type lesson, but there's no reason I can't show you this, which is not beginner. So there, I'm doing 16th note triplets. Da-da-da-da-da-da. There are 6 in one beat. And it's not that hard to do. So this way I'm going, the same thing as before, thumb, pat, thumb with the ghost note. And then, so I get 6 notes. See how each hand is actually not doing very much, but when you put them together, it starts to get fast and impressive sounding. And that really, a lot of slap is to do with little tricks and things like that. Obviously you get bass lines that are really simple. I can't think of any off the top of my head, I'll make one up. There's nothing too fancy going on there, just using all the thumb there, but it sounds good. The more of the fretboard you know, the more you can express yourself and explore different regions. So let's just say I'll keep it to E Dorian and E natural minor. E minor pentatonic, sorry. There's an E there, so I know that's the first 3 notes of the Dorian. And here I know that really simple minor pentatonic shape. Using the same technique there, the same rhythm. The key is to know as many different patterns as you can, and that comes from breaking out of the one way. If you play it one way, You know, make sure that you know how to play a scale off the first finger, off the second finger, off the little finger, so you can go like that direction, this direction, that direction, and you're not restricted just to maybe one pattern that you know. So to review, we've got the basics of the technique. It might take you a while to get that. That's the pop. You've got your hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, vibrato, bends, and you've got the interplay between the hands to be almost like a drummer. Okay, that's one thing. You've got the absolute knowledge of the beats, tapping your foot, getting a really good sense of rhythm, subdividing the beats. That's essential that you know. You've got a really, really strong sense of where all the beats are. Then you've got the actual note selection itself. That's going to help you improvise. So we've got E Dorian in this case. There's plenty others you can do, but E Dorian and E minor pentatonic work for this in this case. Octaves sound really good. And then it's your job to use your technique, to use your sense of timing and your note selection to come up with something that sounds good. Really, the way to get good at that is to listen to lots of different bass lines that you like and emulate what you like about it. You know, work out the bass line, and sooner or later you'll figure out why it sounds good, and that will become part of your voice. So I really can't recommend that enough. Just learning as many bass lines as you can that you like, different styles, and figuring out why you like it, and then you can kind of come up with your own thing. Keep things simple. You're just organizing these notes into phrases. You're leaving lots of space. Don't forget, I mean, you can do bass solos with this, can't you? But you can also come up with bass lines. So have a little game plan, come up with a few things, and see how you get on. If you have any questions about the technique or anything that I've gone through, do let me know. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.